Shalom. Shalom. Giving all praises unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Raha, Hudash. Honors be to the elect elders of the nation of Israel that do labor and teach their truth and sincerity. Shalom to you, Akim, you hopeful elect on the highway and hedges, making your body a living sacrifice, according to Romans 12 and verse 1. Also, shalom to you, sincere believers as well, which consist of men and women. Shalom, Brakatham, and as always, Abba Babal. This is your brother Zarkar Aban coming back with another video. And today's video will be going into being mindful, okay, which pretty much goes into remembrance, to remember. So let's start off with 1 Chronicles 16, and let's start off verse 15, go straight to the point. It says, "Be you mindful always of his covenant, the word which he commanded to 1,000 generations." Now in the NLT it says what? Remember his covenant forever, the commitment he made to 1,000 generations. Okay? So to all generations of the nation of Israel ought to do what? To be keeping his ways, to remember, to come back to remembrance of themselves. But it's only happening for the believers of today. So let's go for that word for mindful.
Strong's H2142. Zacher. Zacher.
And it goes into remember, recall, call to mind. To remember, recall, to cause to remember, remind, right? Remembrance, to mention, to record, to make a memorial, make remembrance. Okay? So that's what, is happening right now with the believers of today, coming back to what? Remembrance of them, remembrance of the heritage, remembrance of the covenants. So let's read a little bit more. It said, even of the covenant which he made with Abraham and of his oath unto Isaac, and have confirmed the same to Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant. So this is only to the nation of Israel, but the believers of today are coming back to what? Remembrance, being mindful, seeking the what? The old way. 2 Peter 3 and verse 1. This second epistle, which epistle goes into what? A letter. Beloved, I now write unto you. And who are the beloved? This is speaking about, once again, the believers, right? The hopeful elect, the house of David. In both which I stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance. What? By way of remembrance. Just falling back off 1 Chronicles 16 and verse 15. Okay? This is us what? Being mindful, recalling, rethinking. And the only way that can happen, the Most High has to do what? Activate. Has to what? Activate your spirit. This is my second letter to you, NLT, dear friends, in both of them I have tried to stimulate your soul, your wholesome thinking, and refresh your memory. Okay? Refresh what? Refresh our memory. You got to keep in mind, we came from what? We came from a sleeping state. Okay? Now we have been what? Awakened. Jakes love, Jakes in today's age, they love to use the word, woke, right? You got a lot of Jakes that love to say, yo, I'm woke, which they still sleep, but, they may learn a few things, may learn a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and now they think that they are woke, right? It says that you may be mindful of the words which were spoken before by the holy prophets, and of the commandment of us, the apostles of the outer one and Savior, that you may be mindful of the words which were spoken before by the holy prophets. And these words we found what? We found them where? In this book. In this book, which is the standard, which is also called what? The banner in the book of Isaiah chapter 13. Right? So we study these words, which is what? Living. The living waters. Okay? It said the holy prophets, and of the commandment of us, the apostles of the outer one and Savior, that you may be mindful. Once again, goes to what? Remembrance. Let's go for that word for mindful, and this is now in the Greek, because we grabbed it in the Hebrew. Let's try it in the Greek now. So I skipped it.
Strong's G 34:15, Mana'amai. Mana'amai.
All right, the same thing, to remind, to be recalled, or to return to one's mind. To return to one's mind. And we see how there's a lot of these religion denominations that would say, I converted. Well, convert means to do what? Return. And the only one that can return, the only people that can return is the nation of Israel. And not even all the nation of Israel can return at this present day. All right. This is only for a select few. All right. This is first class. Only, the elect can return to come back to being refreshed, to be recalled, or to return to one's mind, to remind oneself of, to remember, to be recalled to mind, to be remembered, had in remembrance, be mindful. All right. Be what? Mindful. To think upon, as we read in 1 Chronicles 16 and verse 15, think of the covenants of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai that was given to us, given from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob. All right, so let's drop this, go to the book of Tobit. So this is the book of Tobit, chapter 4. Let's go straight to the point, verse 5. And that'd be pretty much it, read a little bit on down. It said, every day of your life, keep the outer one, our power in mind. Now in the KJV, this is in the GNT. All right, this is Tobit chapter 4 in the GNT. But in the KJV, it says what? Mindful. But the point is, every day of your life, keep the outer one, Yahweh, our power in mind. Never sin deliberately. All right, never sin what? Deliberately. All right, we not sinning, willfully. Right, we keep in mind of the ways of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. We seeking to please Yahweh Shai. Okay, we not doing things, deliberately trying to go off, but we understand that what we still in his flesh. Never sin deliberately or disobey any of his commands. Always do what is right and never get involved in anything evil. Okay, and never get involved in anything evil. And we don't understand what truly is evil until we come back to being what? Mindful. Come back to being what? In our memory, to what? Remember, to recall. When we start learning of our heritage, when we start learning of the law, the statutes, and commandments that is not done away with, like a lot of these religion denominations like to say, but we don't know what truly is evil until we, come back into remembrance of our covenants. Okay? Never sin deliberately or disobey any of his commands. Always do what is right and never get involved in anything evil. And like I was saying, once again, we don't know what evil is, right? We don't know what sin is until we come back to this, come back to our heritage. As Apostle Paul said, matter of fact, I gotta grab it. This comes to mind. In the book of, should be book of Romans. Bear me 1 second. This comes to mind. Should be Romans 7:7. Let's grab it in GNT. Let's see what it sounds like in a GNT. Romans 7 and verse 7. Make a quick point. Then we'll get back to Tobit chapter 4. It says, law and sin, Romans 7 verse 7. Shall we say then that the law itself is sinful? Of course not. But it was the law that made me know what sin is. All right? What sin is. If the law had not said, do not desire what belongs to someone else, I would not have known such a desire. So like I was making a point, we don't know what truly is evil or sinful, right? Until we come back to understanding our heritage, which, our heritage, consists of what laws, statutes, and commandments given to us from Yahweh Shai. So we don't understand what truly is evil and truly is against the Most High, a verse, until we come back to being what? Mindful. Till we come back to being what? In remembrance, right? I would not have known such a desire. And that's in the GNT, and it sounds good, man. So let's go back to the book of Tobit, chapter 4. Let's finish this up, and that'd be pretty much it. I don't want to make this long. Tobit chapter 4 and verse 6. Be honest, and you will succeed in whatever you do. Give generously to anyone who faithfully obeys out of one Yahweh. If you are stingy in giving to the poor, out of one Yahweh will be stingy in giving to you. All right. And once again, this goes into what being mindful. All right. This showing what right here an act of what charity, which is love, in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Okay. We spoke, we're supposed to be, doing good unto who, especially to the believers, man. All right, but the point there was made where it says every day of your life keep the outer one, Yahweh, our power in mind, meaning being what, always remembering, recalling, never sin deliberately or disobey any of his commands, always do what is right, and never get involved in anything evil. All right, as it says in the book of Job chapter 1, Job what eschewed evil. Right, he had no parts in the in the dealings with sinners, them that was sinning willfully, them that was doing things deliberately. Okay, so that's pretty much it. The point there was made. I'm gonna end it there. I don't want to that was edifying. I'm gonna give all praises and glory unto Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Raha Hudash. Honors be to the elect elders of the nation of Israel that do labor and teach the truth and sincerity. And shalom to Akim, you hope for elect on the highway in the hedges, making your body a living sacrifice, according to Romans 12 and verse 1. Shalom to you sincere believers as well, which consists of men and women. Shalom, Brakatham, and as always, Abba Babal, DTA. On to the next, Adawan Ratazah. Shalom.